The seed that shouts never sprouts, but the one that lies quiet roots deep and rises strong. When you speak your goals too soon, you invite not only the curiosity of others, but the weight of their questions, their fears, and their unspoken envy. A loud goal doesn't just echo in your heart, it travels into rooms you've never walked, lands in ears that do not know how to hold it gently. And that is where the quiet doubt begins. It rarely comes as a thunderclap. It tiptoes, it whispers, it drips in like a slow leak in the ceiling, wearing away your faith one gentle tap at a time. You tell someone you're going to write a book, and suddenly you feel like you have to explain the plot, the publishing plan, the page count. You tell them you're starting a business, and now they want projections, proofs, and every what if covered. And if you're not careful, if your roots aren't deep enough, that seed of intention you planted begins to doubt the sun, begins to question the soil, begins to wonder, should I have waited? We are conditioned in this world to declare, to announce, to shout our dreams as if volume alone will summon their reality. But the truth is, not everyone who hears your goal is cheering for it. Some are calculating, some are comparing, some are quietly hoping it doesn't happen because your rise reminds them of their stillness. Your fire exposes their ashes, and in their silence, they do their work. Not with swords, but with seeds. Seeds of doubt planted in the cracks of your confidence. They might smile, but behind the smile is a silent question. You really think you can do that? They may say, that's amazing, but underneath it sits a quiet disbelief. Let's see how long that lasts. And it's not just them, it's you too. Because once you say it out loud, now you feel the pressure. Now you feel the timeline. Now it feels like a race, not a journey. A performance, not a purpose. But here's what they don't know. The greatest work ever done was done in silence. The caterpillar does not scream when it becomes a butterfly. The moon does not announce itself every night. It simply rises. Mountains do not move for attention. They rise slowly, inch by inch, unmoved by applause. The same must be true for your dreams. Keep them close. Nurture them like a mother cradles an unborn child. Let them grow in the warmth of your discipline, the water of your effort, the sunlight of your belief, because when you guard your goal, it gathers power. And when it's time, when it's strong enough to stand on its own, it will not need your mouth to speak for it. It will speak with its presence, its fruit, its legacy. You owe no one a forecast. You owe yourself a foundation. Work in the shadows where the soil is rich. Trust that the roots matter more than the branches. Speak to your dream in the language of effort, not explanation. Because here's the thing, loud goals create pressure, but quiet goals create power. When you don't have to prove it yet, you're free to build it better. When you're not defending it, you're refining it. When you're not explaining it, you're embodying it. And that is where real transformation begins, not in the noise of the announcement, but in the hush of the work. You don't need validation before manifestation. You don't need a witness to begin. What you need is silence that wraps around your dream like protection. What you need is time, unbothered, uninterrupted, undistracted time. The kind of time that allows you to build roots, not just appearances, because that's what they won't tell you. The deeper the roots, the taller the rise. So hold your vision like a secret prayer. Let the world watch in wonder when it becomes real. They will ask how you did it. They will say, you came out of nowhere, but you didn't. You were working all along. You were just silent about it. You were patient, strategic, sacred. And that silence, that was your strength. That doubt never had a chance. Because when you move quietly, you move powerfully. And when you rise like thunder without ever needing to roar. The richest soil says nothing of its treasures. It stays dark, hidden, uncelebrated. but within it lives the miracle, the beginning of everything that will one day bloom. The soil does not beg for praise. It does not explain what it's growing. It simply does the sacred work of holding space, keeping secrets, and offering quiet nourishment to things the world cannot yet see. That is how you must treat your dreams. You carry ideas inside you that are not yet ready for the light. And in a world obsessed with showing, posting, proving, you must choose instead to become the soil. Be the space where potential is protected, not displayed. Be the keeper of the seed, not the announcer of its existence. No seed would survive if it were yanked from the ground every time someone asked to see progress. It needs darkness before daylight, stillness before movement, time before transformation. The soil knows this, and so should you. Just because it hasn't sprouted doesn't mean it's not growing. Just because others don't applaud your silence doesn't mean your silence is empty. There is a quiet wisdom in not telling the world what you're building, because the moment you expose it too early, it becomes vulnerable. Vulnerable to opinions, to judgment, to the cold breath of doubt that can chill even the warmest intention. Some things must be protected to survive. Your vision is one of them. The seed never brags. The seed never explains. The seed never shouts, "I'm about to become a forest." It goes inward, it goes silent, and it does the one thing necessary to grow. It surrenders to the process. It trusts the soil. It lets the roots take their time, and eventually it breaks the surface, not because it needed to be seen, but because it was ready to rise. You are no different. Your plans don't need a stage before they've learned to walk. They don't need a spotlight before they've developed structure. If you tell the world too soon, you may feel seen, but you may not be strong enough yet to stand. It is a gentle act of rebellion in this loud world to keep your next move to yourself, to guard the dream, not because you're ashamed of it, but because you love it too much to let it be trampled by misunderstanding. People will ask you what you're working on. They'll want a preview, a pitch, a peek into what's next. Smile, nod, and let them guess, let them wonder. You owe no explanation for your silence when your spirit is under construction. They don't need to see the blueprint. They will see the building when it's done. The greatest transformations always begin in silence. A butterfly is built in a cocoon, a child in a womb, a vision in the quiet corners of a sleepless night. The soil is not jealous of the flower. It is proud because it knows without its embrace, the flower would never stand. And yet, it never claims credit. It never says, "I made this happen." It simply keeps doing the unseen work. Be the soil. Love your dream enough to let it be invisible for a while. Trust it enough to hold it in secret. Know that real power does not rush. It rests. It roots. It remembers that greatness is not hurried, and brilliance is never born under pressure to perform. You may feel overlooked while you're planting. That's fine. Some flowers bloom late. Some trees take decades before they give shade. And some lives are meant to unfold quietly until the moment they can no longer be denied. So don't chase attention. Chase alignment. Don't search for approval, search for depth. Don't perform for eyes that aren't meant to understand you yet. Let your work become your witness. Let your growth be the evidence. Let your fruits be the only announcement you ever need. Because when the harvest comes, and it will speak louder than any caption, any status, any public declaration ever could. And when they ask, "How did you do all this?" Smile like the soil does, say nothing, and just keep growing. A wave does not declare that it is coming, it just comes. The sun does not give notice before it rises. It simply climbs the sky. The stars do not audition for your attention. They shine because that is what they were born to do. Movement has a language that does not require permission. It is the truest testimony. A step forward speaks louder than a paragraph of promises. Action is the most powerful articulation of intent. You do not need to say you are becoming great. Just move like you are. We live in a world addicted to noise. Everyone is speaking, typing, posting, promising. There are too many words and too little follow-through. People love to announce beginnings, yet so few are willing to carry the burden of continuing. But you, if you are wise, will step away from the noise and step into the work. Because when you move, truly move, with heart, with soul, with discipline, you are building something stronger than public opinion. You are building evidence, and evidence always outweighs empty excitement. There is a certain kind of sacred energy in silent progress, the kind that cannot be faked. You don't have to convince anyone when your footsteps are steady. You don't need applause when you're aligned with your assignment. There is no need to sell your journey when your walk already tells the story. We've been taught to perform our intentions as if speaking them aloud is the same as becoming them. But the real path is not paved by declarations. It is carved by motion. The smallest step taken in truth is worth more than the loudest speech. You don't have to shout what you're going to do if you're already doing it. You don't have to impress the crowd if you're too focused on climbing the mountain. Announcements demand attention. Movement demands commitment. One is concerned with being seen. The other is concerned with becoming solid. One ends at the sound. The other continues long after the noise fades. So choose the path of quiet persistence. Let your movement carry the weight your words cannot. Your growth is not a public event. Your transformation is not a parade. It's a pilgrimage. And pilgrimages are walked, not tweeted. They are built in quiet devotion, not loud discussion. You will get further with your head down in the work than you ever will with your mouth open in explanation. You're not obligated to tell anyone how far you plan to go. Just go. Just move. Let them wonder. Let them doubt. Let them forget. Because one day they will remember. And when they do, it won't be because of what you said. It will be because of what you did. Movement has weight. It leaves a trail. It changes things. Real movement shifts the room, alters the direction, writes history. Real movement bends reality until it matches vision. There is no need to declare destiny when you are willing to walk toward it. Some people are addicted to beginnings. They love to talk about what they're about to start. They write plans, they share visions, they dream aloud for the world to hear. But beginnings are easy. What's hard is to keep going when no one is clapping. What's hard is to move when no one notices. What's hard is to rise when no one believes. But that's exactly where your power is, in the quiet, in the movement that no one sees, in the hours when you show up without witness, in the nights when you labor without likes. That's when the real work is done. That's when foundations are poured. That's when legacy is born. So let them talk. Let them post. Let them declare and debate. And while they do, you move, you build, you rise. Because when the dust settles, it is not the loudest that remain. It is the ones who kept moving. You are not here to announce every chapter before it's written. You are here to write it, to turn every page with purpose, to walk your talk until the road runs out and the dream becomes real. Let the silence of your action grow louder than the noise of your intent. Let the strength of your steps replace the sound of your sentences. Move until the movement becomes undeniable, until your life becomes the answer, until your journey becomes the proof. And in that motion, you will find everything you ever hoped the announcement could bring: clarity, momentum, respect, and ultimately, arrival. Silence is not the absence of power, it is the hiding place of it. Silence is not surrender. It is strategy. It is not weakness. It is wisdom folded into stillness. There are things in life that grow only in the dark: character, clarity, and calm. The most dangerous person in any room is the one who knows much and speaks little, who sees all but shows nothing, who moves without sound but strikes with precision. That is the kind of person silence builds. The world will try to convince you that noise means strength, that shouting your opinion means you're brave, that declaring your every plan, your every emotion, your every thought means you're bold. But boldness isn't noise. Boldness is self-control. Courage isn't always a roar. Sometimes it's a whisper that says, "I don't need to explain myself. I know who I am." There is a time to speak, yes, but don't confuse silence with fear. Silence is often the clearest voice in the room. It says, "I will not waste my words where they are not valued. I will not cast my pearls before those who only seek to trample." There is a sacredness in silence, a discipline, and a deep inner power that cannot be manipulated by praise or provoked by doubt. When you're silent, you're listening, not just to others, but to yourself. You can hear your intuition clearer. You can hear your ancestors. You can hear God. The world gets loud, but the soul speaks in stillness. And if you never slow down, if you never quiet the outer noise, you'll miss the voice that matters most, the one within. People will mistake your silence. They'll think you're unsure. They'll think you're backing down. Let them misread you. Because when the time is right, your action will speak in a language no one can interrupt. You do not owe your every thought to the world. You do not have to rush to correct every misunderstanding. Some battles are best left unfought because silence already won them. The strongest trees grow in quiet forests. The deepest oceans move with a calm so profound it looks like stillness. And you, if you are wise, will learn that silence is armor. It keeps your peace intact. It guards your energy. It protects your vision from those who would twist it, shrink it, poison it. Let others speak. Let them try to provoke you, try to pull you out of your calm, but don't let them. Stay rooted, stay silent. Not because you're afraid, but because you've learned that peace is more precious than pride. And not every question deserves an answer. Not every slight deserves a reaction. Not every room deserves your voice. There will be moments when you will want to shout, when you will feel the heat rise in your chest, when your name will be dragged and your truth will be doubted. In those moments, remember this. Silence does not mean defeat. It means you've decided your energy is too sacred to waste on convincing those committed to misunderstanding you. Move in silence, not because you are hiding, but because you are building. The architect does not announce every blueprint. The artist does not reveal every brushstroke before the masterpiece is finished. You are crafting something holy inside you. Protect it, shield it, let it grow without the weight of expectation, without the pressure of proving. Your silence is not emptiness. It is full of intention. It is where your focus sharpens, where your power gathers, where your next chapter quietly prepares its entrance. People will see the outcome and wonder where it came from. They'll say, "I didn't know you were working on that." And you will smile, not out of arrogance, but out of peace. Because you know, not every move needs an announcement. Some victories are born in shadows. Some miracles grow in silence. Let others seek the spotlight. You seek the flame within. Let them chase noise. You chase meaning. Because when it's time to speak, really speak, your words will carry the weight of 1,000 quiet hours. And when it's time to act, your steps will shake the ground. Not because you demanded attention, but because your silence built a strength no noise could match. So hold your calm. Wear your silence like a crown. Let them misunderstand, misjudge, misread. Your stillness is not their weakness. It is your shield, forged in patience, held by wisdom, sharpened by peace. And one day when your silence breaks, it won't be with noise. It will be with impact. Power does not always exit with a bang. Sometimes it drains drip by drip, word by word, moment by moment. You don't notice it until you are tired for no reason, scattered without understanding, frustrated by the very dreams you once held with reverence. And often the source of that exhaustion is not your schedule, it is your speech, not your action, but your conversation, not what you're doing, but what you keep saying. Energy leaks through loose lips. Every time you speak your plan too early, you give it away. Not in the sense of generosity, but in the loss of momentum. What begins in sacred fire gets cooled in the public breeze. Every time you seek validation through explanation, you trade inner clarity for outer noise. Every time you rehearse your intention in front of those not meant to hold it, you allow their confusion to become part of your story. There is a reason certain things are meant to remain secret, not because they are shameful, but because they are sacred. Your vision is not for entertainment. It is not a performance. It is a process, and processes require containment, like heat in a sealed vessel, pressure in a chamber, roots under the earth. What is developing needs to be held, not exposed, not discussed too widely, not diluted by premature disclosure. Loose lips don't just sink ships, they sink focus, they sink joy. They drain the soul of what it needs most, alignment. Because with every conversation where you explain your next move, a piece of it escapes. You may feel heard, but you'll also feel less connected to what once stirred you, because you gave it words before you gave it wings. You handed it over before it could even stand. There is nothing wrong with dreaming out loud, but there is danger in depending on feedback from others to stay committed. There is danger in building your energy on applause, because when the clapping stops, so will your steps. And you were never meant to build your destiny on something that could disappear with someone's opinion. Loose lips often come from insecurity, from the need to be affirmed, from the subtle ache to be seen. And in trying to prove that we are doing something worthwhile, we tell everyone before we've proven it to ourselves. But real power is quiet. Real focus is private. Real energy builds in silence and erupts only when it is ready. Speak less, preserve more. Don't let your energy bleed out in conversations that serve no purpose but comfort, because comfort is a thief dressed in kindness. It will lull you into sharing things too early, too often, with people who will smile at you and forget what you said, but leave you drained from having said it. Guard your goals. They are not gossip. They are not small talk. They are not tools for social bonding. They are promises you made to your higher self, promises that require solitude, boundaries, protection. There is a divine rhythm to timing. And when you speak too soon, you disrupt it. You give the music away before the song has been written. You do not have to tell people where you are going. Just go. You do not have to explain what you're building. Just build it. Let your life become the loudest statement you ever make. Let your results be the echo of your silence. Let your progress be the punctuation mark to all the words you never said. Some people will ask because they are curious. Some will ask because they are nosy. Some will ask to distract you, and some will ask to dismantle you. You must learn the difference. You must learn that not every question deserves an answer, that not every relationship deserves access to your inner blueprint. You are allowed to say, I'm working on something, but I'd rather not talk about it. You are allowed to keep the sacred, sacred. What is meant for the light will rise on its own. You don't have to force it. You don't have to preview it. You don't have to explain it into existence. You must only remain loyal to it, silent enough to hear its whispers, disciplined enough to follow its direction, humble enough not to boast, brave enough to trust that when the time comes, it will be seen, and it will speak for itself. Energy is your most precious currency. It is what you spend before money, before time, before words, and loose lips spend it freely on people who cannot carry it, who will not honor it, who don't have the capacity to hold what you're holding. That is not their fault, but it is your responsibility. Keep your fire contained until it becomes a torch. Don't let it flicker in public before it learns to burn strong in private. Don't leak your light in fragments just because you want to be seen. The world will see when it's time. But for now, shield it, sharpen it, protect it like the sacred flame it is. If they ask, tell them you are growing. Tell them you are focused. Tell them you are becoming. And let that be enough. You don't owe anyone a peek behind the curtain. Your silence is not avoidance. It is a boundary, a sanctuary, a strategy. And when the harvest comes, and it will come, you won't need to explain how. You won't need to remind anyone of the nights you didn't talk but worked, the days you didn't boast but believed. They will feel it in your presence, in your peace, in the power that no longer leaks because you finally learned to keep it where it belongs, within. The most powerful voice is not the one that boasts, but the one that becomes. You don't have to tell the world who you are if you are committed to becoming it. You don't have to shout your value when your life begins to shine with the weight of your work. Let success speak. It speaks with a tone no echo can match. It speaks with results, with presence, with a stillness that commands more respect than any noise could earn. There is something profoundly dignified about letting your life carry the message your mouth used to. When you stop trying to explain yourself and start focusing on becoming yourself, everything begins to shift. The people who once doubted fall silent. The ones who ignored begin to notice. And you begin to rise, not because you demanded attention, but because your journey became undeniable. You never see the rose shouting from the soil. It simply blooms. It doesn't ask for applause. It doesn't request to be seen. It just becomes itself. And that is enough. That is everything. There is a power in letting success do the talking because success speaks in a language every soul understands. Consistency, resilience, grace under pressure, and the quiet triumph of persistence. You don't need to narrate your evolution. You don't need to pre-announce your breakthrough. The ones who matter will see it. The ones who can't see it were never meant to. And the ones who truly love you never needed you to say a word. They recognized your truth in your footsteps, in your silence, in your quiet resolve. When you let success do the speaking, you preserve the most important part of the journey, your energy. You're not wasting time performing for spectators. You're not caught up convincing anyone of your worth. You're working, you're growing, you're becoming, and in time, your life will become so loud with purpose that words will seem unnecessary. The loudest people are often the ones furthest from what they speak. The real ones, the rooted ones, the becoming ones, they don't need noise. They need focus. They need solitude. They need discipline. And they know that the most beautiful things in life don't arrive with announcements. They rise in their own time. Let them underestimate you. Let them look away. Let them believe that silence means stillness. Because when your work blooms, when your life begins to bear the fruit of all those invisible seasons, you won't have to correct their view. The results will. You won't have to clap back. The outcomes will. You won't need to flex. Your peace will. Success is the reply to every ignored call, every overlooked effort, every doubted dream. Let it be your voice, not your pride, not your pain, not your past. Let it be your future unfolding. Let it answer for you. Let it hold the mic while you continue to hold the vision. You have nothing to prove, only something to build. And what you're building doesn't need a marketing team. It needs your full attention. What you're crafting in silence will one day be your thunder. What you're shaping behind the scenes will one day stand tall in the center of the stage. Not because you beg to be there, but because the light always finds what is real. Let the world be surprised. Let them find out only when it's too clear to deny. Let them scroll past your name one day and whisper, "I didn't see that coming." You don't owe them a preview. You don't owe them a draft. You owe yourself the satisfaction of arriving without ever asking for permission to begin. The people who speak the least often have the most to show. The ones who are moving in truth don't have time to explain every step. They're too busy walking. They are the doers, the makers, the builders, the ones whose success speaks with such clarity that even silence becomes a statement. Be that. Be quiet and steady. Be unseen and sure. Be consistent and calm. Let your rise be your revenge. Let your joy be your declaration. Let your success speak the only language that needs no translation: evidence. One day you'll look back and smile, not because you told the world what you would do, but because you did it. Not because you were loud, but because you were true. And when success speaks, it never has to shout. You don't owe the world a preview. You owe yourself a promise kept. Speak less, move more, plan in silence, work with fire. And when it's time, let your success be the thunder that follows your storm. Because in the end, those who worked in silence, they echo the loudest.